Well, I think we heard a lot of conversations of this down in Houston, what can be expected on both sides of the border to increase production. In our conventional sector, I think there's a room to increase a little bit, just the similar in the United States. Right now, there's some supply constraints, some supply chain constraints. It's difficult to get rigs. Sand is difficult. It's difficult to be able to ramp up just because of the supply chain, but certainly we could see some smaller incremental increase in production. The oil sands, I think there's some interest in there, and we heard from producers how they could increase production in the short term with things like, scheduling their maintenance turnarounds, optimizing production at existing facilities. There's some additional production that is set and could come on in the very near term. So yes, I do think we can, in the near term, we can increase production. I think you can expect to see that. In the longer term, to increase production, we have to make sure there's an energy policy that supports that and encourages that, and we need to see that there's takeaway capacity from pipelines, rail, and other infrastructure to move it. Absolutely, there was increased interest in the oil sands production. First and foremost, it's moving to net zero. Net zero production gives it a strategic advantage to be low carbon, as well as low risk. It's long-term projects that are relatively low risk and low cost. We heard the production of some of these up-and-running oil sands facility can compete with any production anywhere around the world. And the interest in the increased oil sands production is particular down in the Gulf Coast, where refineries are configured to take that more heavy blend of crude. And in fact, they were importing Russian, heavy blend of Russian crude that needs to be displaced. And they're not going to displace that from Venezuela. They shouldn't be looking at displacing it from Iran or Saudi Arabia. They should be looking north, and they are. We just have to find the solutions to get it across the border. And I trust wholeheartedly our industry to step forward and find the right solutions. If governments can get out of the way and be able to support them and give them the energy policy they need to be able to increase that production. It is really clear we need to build some additional infrastructure. So as a starting point on that, I think one of the initial first starting points we could do to send a message that we need to build that infrastructure is the federal government could rescind immediately the tanker ban under C-48 so that we can look again at another West Coast pipeline in the future. It could reopen Bill C-69, the Impact Assessment Act, to find a process that actually allows a project proponent to build something, not something that'll be mired down in a process you can never get through. So I think those are some immediate near-term things the federal government can do. If it's serious about what Minister Wilkinson had mentioned, they're serious about finding ways to get additional product to market, they can start with those things. And then I think we can have the discussion about KXL and how we get more product to the United States.